Hari Om, welcome you all to this 40th session of Open Learning for All in IKS, OLA 40. And we will be talking today about the Vedic cosmology and emphasizing on the Purusha Sukta. Let me start with a small invocation. Namostvanantaya sahasramurtaye सहस्रपादाक्षि शिरोरुबाहवे सहस्रनाम्ने पुरुषाय शाश्वते सहस्रकोटियुगधारिणे नमः हरिः ओम श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम. So as I said, Vedic cosmology, we have started this Jnana Yajna, this Brahma Yajna, on 9th January 2020. This is the 11th month we are running it, except for 2-3 sessions in March, perhaps in April, when the lockdown was imposed and nobody was here around. Our IT and media people whom we require, they were not around, and therefore we had to stop that. But this is incessantly going on for last 11 months. And there has been a consistent demand to take some Ola classes, especially on the Rigveda, and therefore I started doing this. So today's session and next Thursday's session will be dedicated to Vedic cosmology, and I'll be dealing with 3 main suktas of the Rigveda. Today I will deal with Purusha Sukta, and next Thursday Hiranyagarbha Sukta and Nasadiya Sukta. So this is Vedic cosmology, part 1. What is cosmology? You can find the word cosmology as well as cosmogony. In dictionary, you find 2 words. So is there any difference? Cosmos is the universe. Cosmos is Vishwa, Brahmanda. Logy is the scientific study how this universe came into existence. And cosmogony has a special branch, is a special branch of cosmology which deals with especially the genesis of the stars, the sun, moon and the stars. So both deal with the cosmos because the word cosmo is there present. So this could be, in Sanskrit it could be called Srishti Utpatti or Vishvotpatti or Vishwanirmiti. In these words it could be stated. So who created that? How he created that? What he created first? Can we see the creation? Do we have any logic, any order behind this creation? And why man is so curious to know about it? Man by nature is a rational animal. He is thinking, and therefore he always thinks when, koham, kastvam, kuta ayataha. Who am I? Who are you? From where we all have come. And who created this entire world filled with multiplicity around us? So a man is very wonderstruck at this Brahmanda's creation, and he, thinks, rationalizes, and feels that the creator must be some gigantic being. Because whatever is created, creator is always greater than the created object. Creator has to be greater. So who created it? And can we see it? But do we, a small thing like we sow a seed and it sprouts, it germinates and sprouts after a few days. Can we see the sprout coming out of the seed? We see it only when the sprout comes out, not the process of coming out. Now with animation and all, you can see the seed is sowed and this. The sprout is coming up, the germination has taken place, but that's all animation. We don't see that. So the actual creation is not seen, it's all hypothetical. It is all in our thinking process. And we wonder, we see this Brahmanda. Are there many more Brahmandas besides this? Because what is manifested is only little. What is unmanifest is greater than the manifested world. So in the Rigveda, as I said, there are multiple hymns, sublime hymns of creation. Most of them are in the 10th mandala, the 10th book of the Rigveda. I had already told you in the Chaturdasha Vidyasthana when we dealt about the Rigveda thing, that Rigveda is divided into 10 books called mandalas. So most of the creation hymns we find in the 10th mandala. And it is the intelligent human being's question of who and how, who created and how he created. And these are, like the verified subjective truths. These are the subjective truths of some people. They later became the scientific dogmas. Later on, they were like concretized and they became science in the later days. So creation hymns normally, they are not, you ask a question and answer is provided. They are always like puzzles. They are very enigmatic. You feel you got an answer. At the end of the day, you say, oh, I don't have an answer to this. So this is yet unanswered. And Rigvedic seers take pride in saying that etattu, not the Rigvedic vachana, this vachana comes in the later literature also, etattu asmakam bhushanam natu dushanam. If we are not able to give you a correct answer, that's not a flaw. That's not our, drawback. That's our pride. You take pride in that, oh, there is no answer to this question. All questions need not be answered. Okay? So, Creator has to be great, and He is an omnipotent and omnipresent, omniscient being. So, that is the Purusha Sukta. Then people may see, the shell of an egg being broken and the bird, the tiny chicken or the tiny bird coming out of it, the beak comes out, So that perhaps is known, that perhaps is seen, and therefore it is thought that the whole cosmos is like a big egg. And therefore the Hiranyagarbha Sukta is the second Sukta which we'll be thinking. And then water is very essential for living. Now the ISRO and the other people, the NASA are sending spacecrafts to other planets. What they find out first, what they try to find out is there water there? So on the Mars, mission Mars, right? So if you can find some element of water, then you can, conclude, oh, there must be Jiva Srishti. There must be the beings existent there. So water is regarded as the basic element, and this creation, this happens after every Manvantara, there is a new creation. There is no the start and the end point of the creation. It is not a linear process, it's a cyclic process, and therefore we call it Anadi Ananta. So it's a cyclic process, and it is said, Surya Chandrama Saudhata Yatha Purvam Akalpayat. So Dhata, Vidhata or Brahma created the sun, moon and every other thing as he did in earlier creation, earlier Sarga. So this is a cyclic. Now this creation is a cyclic process. There are two types of creation. One is Sadhyo Srishti and one is the Krama Srishti. Sadhyo Srishti is everything is, it emerges as if the two horns of an animal. Yugapat Srishti or Sadhyo Srishti, as for example in the dream. There is no sequence. In the dream we create Natatra, Rathana, Ratha Yoga, but everything is there at a moment. But another is the sequential creation, Krama Srishti. Purusha Sukta tells you about the Krama Srishti. What came first, what came after, how it came, like that. The very first verse, Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasrakshas Sahasrapad Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyatishtat Dashangulam. The invocatory verse which I recited at the beginning of this session was from Vishnu Sahasranama. Okay, the last verse of the Vishnu Sahasranama told by Bhishma to Yudhishthira. Now Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha, this is a being, Purusha. Purusha is not just a man, this is a being, a cosmic being having 1,000 heads. Does it mean 999 plus 1? It doesn't mean the finite number 1,000. It means many, multitude heads, multitude of eyes and multitude of legs. Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyatishtat Dashangulam. He pervaded the entire universe and still was beyond that. So he is in the Brahmanda plus beyond the Brahmanda. Okay? So countless number, not exactly 1,000, that is the meaning of heads, eyes and feet. Because, why? Because, Sayanacharya and other Acharya. Sayanacharya is the first available known commentator of all the Vedic Samhitas. So he has stated all the animals, all the beings, they are born of him. They are the part and parcel of him. So their heads, their legs, their eyes would contribute to their generator. And therefore he is called as Sahasra-Shirsha. Another thing is having multiple organs, mythologically, having multiple organs symbolizes multitasking nature of the being. One head, you think so many things. Suppose you have 4 heads, 5 heads like Chaturmukha Brahma, you can think multiple times. Sahasra-Shirsha, 1,000-fold. Right? So that is what is symbolized by that, multiple organs. And cosmic Purusha has infinite knowledge and therefore Sahasra-Shirsha. And then infinite vision, therefore Sahasra Aksha, Chakshu, and Sahasrapat, going, movement, because action. The creator has to be very dynamic, has to be very active. So this all symbolizes the infinite knowledge, infinite vision and infinite action. So cosmic Purusha is encompassing the entire world and beyond that, Atyatishtat Dashangulam. Now here we have 2 types of the being which are dealt with in the later text like Bhagavad Gita, for example, the 10th chapter and the 11th chapter, the Vibhuti Yoga and the Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. Okay, in the Bhagavad Gita. Vibhuti Yoga gives you the immanence. Immanence is something emanates from the being. That means it is a part and parcel of that being. It is an integral part. There is Anshanshi Bhava or Shesha Sheshi Bhava. All these beings, the movable and the immovable world has emanated from the being and therefore he is immanent in it. That is the immanence of that cosmic Purusha. That is the Vibhuti Yoga. And then he is transcendent. The God or that cosmic being is over and above. What is the meaning of transcendent? Beyond the range of usual perception. Our sense organs can't capture it, can't grasp it. It is atindriya, anakalaniya, and therefore it is transcendent. And therefore it means a God who is a separate being, who is the overseer. He creates, but he is nirlipta, alipta from his creation and oversees as a sakshi, as a witness, the everything. So he is the generator, overseer and destroyer. That is the God, the God principle. And he is beyond everything, Atyatishtat Dashangulam. This is as good as the Virat Roop or the Vishwarupa Darshan in the Bhagavad Gita. The continued description in the Purusha Sukta is Padosya Vishva Bhutani Tripadasya Amritandivi. And now here Sayana's commentary is worth noting. Now you are saying that this cosmic being is, one like full one unit. And you are saying again in the next verse, one part of that, 1/4 of that is all the beings and the 3/4 are beyond the range of your perception. Does it mean it is Savayava? Savayavatva Prasangaha. In a technical language, it is Savayavatva Prasangaha. And Sayana comments on that, Yadyapi Satyam Jnanamanantam Brahma iti Amnatasya Parabrahmanaha Iyatta Abhavat. Iyatta, boundary, limitation. Iyatta Abhavat Padachatushtatayam Nirupayatum Ashakyam. Though we cannot cognize or apprehend the 4/4 of this being who is one whole without any part, we call it partless, Niravayava, Nirvikara, Nirvikalpa, Tathapi. Even then, Jagadidam Brahmasvarupapekshaya Alpam iti Vivakshitatvat Padatva Upanyasaha. Then why it is said padosya vishva bhutani. Just to make you aware that this, you are wonderstruck at this gigantic universe around you. But that is nothing. That is only one part. And there are more parts which are invisible. What you see, what is visible to you is only a fraction. Like we say for the iceberg, only the tip of the iceberg is seen. The 9/10 of the iceberg is below the water. So what is unseen is much more, much larger than what is manifested, what is visible. Same principle appears here. So the visible world itself is so gigantic, but that is nothing. And to say that padosya vishvabhutani, it doesn't denote that the Parabrahma or the cosmic being is having parts in it. Okay? Vishtabhyahamidam krishnam ekanshena sthito jagat. This is the Bhagavad Gita quotation. Now dashangulam, it is said atyatishtat dashangulam. Dasha angula, 10 fingers, okay? 10 fingers. He remains 10 fingers above all this world. What does it mean? Now, I didn't tell you perhaps, but this Purusha Sukta you find in all the 4 Samhitas. Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda. All the 4 Samhitas have it. So Yajurveda's commentator, Uvata and Mahidhara, they are the commentators of Yajurveda. They have commented on this in a different manner. What is Dashangula? Uvata says Dashangula are the 10 organs, the 5 karmendriyas and the 5 jnanendriyas. So Dashendriyanam upari. So it is beyond the apprehension of the 5 cognitive and the 5 agent organs. Okay? Mahidhara says it is residing 10 fingers from the navel, because the navel is the genesis. Nabhi is the genesis, even for the human beings. We are humans, therefore we think in the human parameters, right? So from navel to the heart, where, in the Rit Pundarika kosha, the Angushtamatra Purushaha Virajate, right? So that Parabrahma who stays in our lotus petaled heart, the distance between the heart and the navel, the genesis and the location of the Parabrahma is 10 angulas. You can measure it. So it is the 10 fingers. So that is a very practical interpretation given by Mahidhara. So the meaning on the whole, the gist of the whole is 3 parts are unmanifest, they are invisible, and only 1 part is manifested, which is visible, and only that part is created again and again and again. In every creation, in every sarga, the same 1 part gets created, other 3 parts are in oblivion. They are not seen by us. And having created, what he does? That cosmic beings enters into the srishti which he creates. So his presence is felt there. And another place it is said, Satcha Tyacha Abhavat. Sat, the sentient, the existing, and Tyat, which is other than the Sat, he became that. He created that and he became that. Atmana Anupravishya, as it is said in the Upanishads. Then he created Sashanana Shane Abhi. Sashana and Anashana. Sashana, Asha, is to eat. Okay? So Sashana, those who eat. The beings, the sentient living beings who require some food to eat. And Anashana, those who don't require any food to eat, they are the insentient. Like the mountains, the rivers, the oceans, etc., the trees, etc. Of course, the trees also eat. Okay? So the mountains and the rivers, which are really insentient. That is the meaning given by Sayana. But Anashana could also mean the gods. Because gods don't eat like we human beings eat. They all get the havi which we offer, but they are not eating the thali which we are eating, the human beings, in front of us. So like that they are not eating. They are amritapaha. They drink only amrita. They don't need anything else, right? So it could also mean the gods. That means Sashana and Anashana, the living beings as well as the human beings as well as the divine beings. So he created both these. Because there is the Achetana Srishti also coming hereafter. Then Tasmad Virala Jayata Virajo Adhipurushaha. So what is the meaning of Virat? From that Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat Sahasrashirsha Purusha, one Virat Purusha comes out. Viraj. Now what is the meaning of Viraj? Vi is the Upasarga. Vi, Vividham, Visheshena. Raj is to shine. So Vishishtam or Vividham Rajate iti Viraj. Vividhani Rajante Vastuni Atra. Various beings, they shine forth because of this being. Therefore also Virat. Virajaha tameva deham adhikaranam kritva purushaha ajayata. So from that cosmic being's body, another Virat Purusha came up. This is creation of another being from one being. From one Sachetana, another Sachetana comes into force, and that Sachetana, who is the Brahma or Brahmadeva or Sutratma or Hiranyagarbha, whom we will be discussing in the next lecture, he created other worlds. So this Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat Sashanana Shane Abhi he created, and Tripadasya, Padosya Vishwa Bhutani, and he created Virat. The rest of the creation is being generated from this Virat Purusha. According to some, Viraj is a feminine principle. Sayana also comments here, you see. Soyam sarva charachara srishtihi, soyam sarva vedanta vedyaha paramatma, swayameva swakiyaya mayaya virat deham srishtva tatra jivarupena pravishat. The main source of this Rigvedic Sukta lectures for me is Sayana Bhashya. We cannot proceed even a step further without referring to Sayana. Okay? So, this Virat could be his own Maya. If it's a feminine principle, it could be Maya. So that is another meaning. And then this man, Purusha, he created the earth, the various beings, and the places to stay for these beings. Places to stay, various types of bodies, like the human body, the animal body, like that. Now he is another Virat Purusha. Now this Purusha, Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat, created another Purusha. What is a Purusha? You take help of Nirukta, Vedanga, okay? Vedarthaha Gamyate Angyate Anena iti. So Puri Shete, Puri Shayaha, Puri Shadaha, Puri Sidati itiva Purushaha, Puri Shete itiva Purnatvatva Purushaha. He stays in this Pura. This is a Pura. Navadvare Pure Dehi. This Pura has got 9 gates, 9 outlets like, okay? So 9 outlets are there. So this soul stays in this, that is called a Purusha. And he is also called Purnatvat Purushaha. He is Purna, therefore he is called Purusha. And Purayati Antaha. He fills our inner space, and therefore he is called Purusha. Puri is Sthiti. Puri is body. Pur. Puri is the Saptami Ekavachan. Okay? Pur is the original word. Puri is the Saptami Ekavachan. And then he created the Puras, the various bodies. First he created the being, and he has to provide a residence for the being, and therefore he created the bodies. And why these bodies are called Puraha? Puriyante saptabhi dhatubhi iti. The human bodies are filled with the saptadhatu. Rakta, Mausa, Meda, Majja, Asti, etc. So saptadhatubhi puriyate iti. And then he Paschat Bhumi Matho Puraha. He created Bhumi. Bhumi doesn't get restricted only to the earth. It involves the other 4 elements as well. Okay? So the fire, water, and ether and air, wind, they are also created. So that means he created the being, and the being created the Bhogya Jagat for him. He is the Bhokta. So there is the sentient Bhokta and the insentient Bhogya world which is created. So the Bhoktru Bhogya Jagat is being created. Now this being created all this because of Yajna. Now Yajna, we have seen in one of the Ola lectures what is the importance and significance of Yajna. Yajna is a creative force. Okay. So second Purusha, the creator, the Prajapati was the Yajna sadhana. He himself became the Pashu as well. And then from that Yajna, he created the various seasons, the Vedas, the directions, everything got created. Various animals. Okay. So 3 seasons are mentioned in the Purusha Sukta. Vasantosya Rajyam Grishma Idmaha Sharad Havihi. So Grishma was the wood, the Samidha, and Sharad was the offering, and Vasanta was the Ajya, that is the Grita. And then from this Yajna emerged Prishadajyam, the variegated Ajyam, that is the Bhogya Jatam. And then he tied himself to the Yupa as an animal. Yupa is a sacrificial post to which the animal which is to be killed, which is to be sacrificed, is tied. So, who is the animal which is tied? The Purusha. Who is the Yajamana who is doing the sacrifice? Yajna. He is the Purusha. Everything is Purusha here. We'll see the significance in the at the end of this. And then this Yajna is done on 3 levels, like karma, actual doing the tying of the Pashu and offering and all that. Then Upasana, because this is a mental Yajna. And then the Jnana of the highest being. Ultimately, it is the Jnana. So this karma has 3 component parts to it. And this Yajna is called Sarvahuta. Tasmat Yajnat Sarvahutaha. Okay. So this comes as a Dhruvapada, as a Palupada in 2-3 richas of this Sukta. So the sacrifice and the animal to be sacrificed are the same. So when everything, what we have, everything we sacrifice, we get whatever we want. All our desires get fulfilled when we are ready to give up whatever we have. If you hold something back, then you won't get it in the fullest extent. Now this is the most debatable and most discussed and what you can say most ill-interpreted richa of the entire Rigvedic corpus. Not only Purusha Sukta, the entire Rigvedic corpus. There are more than 10,500 richas and people talk only about this. Brahmanosya mukhamasid, bahu rajanyakrataha, uru tadasya yadvaishyaha, padbhyam shudro vijayata. And Shudra is born from the Padas, and therefore, right from the Rigveda, Shudras are ill-treated. That is the wrong interpretation. We'll see what is the right interpretation. Okay? Let us go word by word, one by one. So this is what is in the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvaranyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. So the Guna and Karma, they decide the Varna. We are now nowhere talking about the Jati. We are talking about the Varna. One person, though born in a Brahmana Jati or a Shudra Jati, could be at times a Brahmana, at times a Kshatriya, at times a Vaishya. When he is earning for his family, he becomes Vaishya. And when he is serving his family, he becomes a Shudra. He is thinking of the welfare of his family, he is a Brahmana. He protects his family, he becomes a Kshatriya. This is as simple as that. The same person can do 4-fold roles. So Brahmanas are basically the think tank. Even now, we have think tank or the thinkers, the advisors, very few. Followers, hundreds and thousands. They are the Shudras. They are the laborers. They are the followers, not the leaders. Brahmanas are the thinking clan. Okay? We even now say, oh, who is the brain behind that? Somebody is doing some great task, great endeavor he has undertaken. Who is the brain behind that? The think tank behind that. That is the Brahmana. Have you heard of the Boston Brahmins? Few years back there was a phrase coined like Boston Brahmins. Boston? America? Okay. So Brahmanas are thinkers. They are basically Sattvika, because Sattvat Sanjayate Jnanam, Laghu Prakashakam, Jnanatmakam cha Sattvam, and therefore they are Sattvik. Then comes Kshatriyas, the Kshatat Trayate iti Kshatriyaha, as we have the letter etymology, and they are a combination of Raja and Sattva. Raja because it is Chalam Avashtambakam cha Rajaha, Rajo Ragatmakam Vidhi, okay, and therefore they are dynamic, they are active, they are passionate about doing something, and they are basically the protectors. They are the protectors. Brahmanas give you the thought processes. Implementation is to the Kshatriyas. Okay? So, dynamic, fearless for the welfare of the society, that is the role of the Kshatriyas. Then Vaishyas, they generate and mobilize the resources. They generate resources, they mobilize the resources, the cash flow goes, the turnover, everything, the management of finance is done by the Vaishyas. They are the combinations of Raja plus Tama. Why Tama? Because they are self-centric. They amass wealth. Normally, all the Vaishyas are the Dhanika people in the society. They are the richest community in the society, the traders, the business people, right? So they amass wealth. And mostly they are self-centric. So there is the Tama element into that. They are a combination of, when we say Guna Karma Vibhagashaha, one is the functional aspect, one is the Guna aspect, the Triguna aspect. The Triguna thing is Raja and Tama. And then the last is Shudra. They are the laborers, they are the followers, they are not the leaders, they will follow. And followers are always hundreds and thousands, leaders are very few. And there are thousands in the rally going about. You have seen many political rallies. Who are the people who are going, behind the rally, behind the leader? They are all, they are laborers. They don't know what they stand for and what they are voicing for. Many times they don't even know that. They just gatanugatika, people. So they are not thinkers basically. They are the laborers. And these are the people who are working on the ground level in the society. They are necessary, but they work for the welfare on the ground level. So they are predominantly Tamasika, self-centric people. And there is nothing, like derogatory by saying that Padbhyam Shudro Bhijayata. Why? Because in the next few verses, in the 15th verse, Padbhyam Bhumim. So Bhumi is also born or produced from the feet of the Virata Purusha. So are we to say that Bhumi is also very, you are treating Bhumi like nothing, Kaspata? It's not like that. Okay? It's not like that. So we have to take into account what is the real meaning, the guna and karma of this. Many times it is said, Itihasa Puranabhyam Vedam Samupabruhayet. It is the Itihas and Puranas on the basis of which you can really interpret whatever are the ambiguous portions of the Vedas. They help you really, and therefore the interpretation is given in the light of the Bhagavad Gita, which is Mahabharata Itihasa. And then from this Sarvahuta Yajna, there are Gavaha Jadnire, and then there are the Aranyaha, Gramaha, Pashavaha, and then Yeke Chaubhaya Dataha, like the horses, the donkeys, and the mules. Then the Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda. Rigveda here, interestingly, the Purusha Sukta doesn't talk about Atharva Veda. Only Vedatrayi, and many Indian texts we have where only Vedatrayi is referred to, because for two reasons. One is Atharva Veda, many of the suktas and many of the mantras, they are borrowed from the Rigveda, and secondly, there are certain magical incantations, and therefore the masses, it is meant for the masses and not for the class people, and therefore not the Brahmana, the think tank, but for the laborer people perhaps, and therefore it is not counted. Yasya Nishvasitam Vedaha, effortless manifestation. Now the Rigveda, Yajurveda, one Veda which you take, it is so much of knowledge, it's a storehouse of knowledge. But then for the Virat Purusha, it is just a breath, Nishvasitam. And not to, inhalation. Nishvasa is exhalation. Like this, it's like a Leela. Lokavattu Leela Kaivalyam, Badarayana says in the sutras, like that. So this is a effortless manifestation. Vag Vivritascha Vedaha, Mundakopanishad also says, then that is why, because they are born of this Virat Purusha, therefore they are Apaurusheya. Virat Purusha, who is born of the cosmic Sahasraksha Purusha, they are Apaurusheya because no seers wrote it with a paper and a pen with a deliberate intention, oh, let me now praise and propitiate Agni Devata, Varuna Devata, Indra Devata, like that. And there are some 3-4 reasons. Our Pujya Guruji, Tejomananji, in his notes on Purusha Sukta, he has given some 3-4 reasons why Vedas are Apaurusheya. One thing is, human creations are subject to wrong notions. There could be Brahma, like Rajju Sarpa. There could be Brahma, okay? There could be wrong notions. There could be Pramada, inadvertently, unknowingly, indeliberately, okay? There could be some Pramada. There is Karana Apatavam. I mean, the sadhanas, the resources which we have may be insufficient to grasp the nature. And therefore, Karana, the sadhanas, we don't have enough resources to know it, limited means of knowledge. And Vipralipsa, sometimes we are, bogged by our own prejudices, preconceived notions, and therefore it could be Vipralipsa. And therefore they are Apaurusheya. That is side by side this Anushangikam Vivechanam atra kriyate. So Yajna is the cosmic level and it produced the Adhidaiva, then Adhibhuta and Adhyatma, the human beings as well. In today's individualistic world, what we have to keep in mind is, what is the takeaway from Purusha Sukta is the Yajna, Sarvahuta Yajna concept. You give away everything and you get, and you are filled with whatever you desire for. So that is the Sarvahuta Yajna, and this helps us to reconcile the contradictions and resolve confusions. That is the Arthavada. Okay, I'll come to Arthavada later also. So this is one being turning into many, basically. One Sahasrakshaha Sahasrapad. Interestingly enough, in the mythologies all over the world, there is a concept of a gigantic Purusha, very giant, and from him, everything got created. So that concept is there in all the mythologies. So the sun, moon, still there are 18 mantras. According to Yajurveda, there are 18. According to Rigveda, there are 16. Okay. So sun, moon, fire, wind, etc., everything is produced. Then everything is created in the same manner, as I said, Surya, Chandrama, Saudhata. Then why sun is Chaksho Surya Majayata, Chaksho Surya Ajayata, and Chandrama Manaso Jata. Chandrama is born of mind because mind and Chandra, they are connected. Chandra, we say it's a lunar calendar, lunar month, and the people who are mentally sick, mentally ill, we call them lunatics. So there is a close linkage between, and it is, like every full moon day and every new moon day, there are some, it is a proven fact. Don't just laugh it out, okay? So it's a proven fact, so lunatic centers, etc. So there is some sort of association. And Surya is born of Chakshu because it is because of the sun. Sun represents the light. We can't see anything if we don't have the light in our eye, in our cornea. If they are dead, then we can't. That vision, that capacity to see, that vision is the light principle. And therefore, the people who don't see anything, it's all dark for them. It's all dark. For those who see, it's all light around, right? So, Chaksho Suryamaya Suryo Ajayata. So, this is the moon, the mind, yeah. So, from global to local, this is not the Pantapradhan Narendra Modi's global to local, but then from the entire Adhibhuta to Adhidaiva and Adhyatma. So, this is how the creation has taken place. The last mantra of this, Yajnena Yajnamaya Janta Devaha, I was like emphasizing on the Yajna concept, Sarvahuta Yajna, etc. And Yajna is the noblest thing, and they are the first, like karma. prathamani dharmani asan. And tehanakam mahimanaha sachante yatra purve sadhya santi devaha. So those who have the seers, the sadhyas and the devatas, sadhyas, those who have accomplished few other things, they are greater than the human beings. Some of the human beings who have acquired some greater siddhis and can acquire more knowledge, they are sadhya. And sadhyaha, rishayaha, devataha, they perform this sacrifice, and such people, they can go to Naka. Naka is not this Naka or nose. Naka could be split as na plus a plus ka. There are 3 syllabic portions. If you remember the Ola Nirukta class, whichever it was, 26, 30, I don't know, but Ola Nirukta. So, na plus a plus ka, you go from the back. Ka is sukha. A ka is sukha bhava. That is dukkha. A again is negation. So, sukha bhavasya bhavaha. Sukhasya bhavaha dukkham. Dukkhasya bhavaha sukham. So, double negation making a strong affirmation. Double negation always makes a strong affirmation. So, Nakam means they get whatever they want. The happiness or the bliss. The world of pure bliss. So, this was the first act, so successful, so important, and that is why it is advised that if you want to achieve something, you must do yajna. If you remember Kalidasa's Raghuvamsha, King Raghu performed Vishwajit sacrifice. And whatever he had, he gave away everything as dakshina. And that is the time when Kautsa comes to him for his Guru Dakshina. And Raghu is a pauper, he is a penniless. Then he intends to invade Kubera's kingdom and get some dakshina. Kubera is worried, and then he showers the gold mudras and all that stuff. So Vishwajit, you luta do jo bhi hai aapke paas. So that means you give away everything so that you are again showered with all the things in the world. So Gurudev Chinmayananda has stated in his Purusha Sukta book, what is yajna? Yajnena yajnamaya janta devaha. In the yajna concept which we did in Ola, in the Yajurveda and in the Vedic Agni Ola also, yajna has 3 main constituents, dravya, devata and tyaga. Tyaga is the first and the foremost. Unless you are ready to give up something, you can't achieve anything. So what does Gurudev Chinmayananda say about it? All cooperative endeavors undertaken by the community in a spirit of devotion, desiring nothing more than the total welfare of the entire generation, that is yajna. So this is a community endeavor. This is not a personal thing. Yajna was always a community endeavor. So ultimately it comes, like to the Nishkama Karma Yoga, which Bhagavad Gita propounds and preaches. This is without expecting anything in return. If you give up whatever you have, He will shower you. He will bestow all the best on you. So that is the ultimate Karma Yoga according to the Bhagavad Gita. Now this is the symbolic interpretation I told you. What is the Sarvahuta Yajna? So this could be the symbolic interpretation of that. For example, the act of creation itself grew out of Yajna, the rite of sacrifice. Who was worshipped at this sacrifice? It was the Purusha. Who we are propitiating? It is Purusha. Okay? Who performed it? Brahma. And the creative aspect of the Purusha, that is the Virat Purusha. Then who were the Ritvik? They were the Sadhyas, the Devatas, the Rishis, which we saw. Who was tied at the beast? It was Brahma again, the Purusha again, himself. And that could be the I-ness, the animalism in oneself. That is the Pashu, which is to be killed in a sacrifice. That I do this. That's why I said Nishkama, and without that nirmama and nirahankara, nirmamo nirahankara. without having that sense of belong, I am doing this, and this is I who am giving this, without that I-ness and my-ness, as Gurudev Chinmayananda says, without I-ness and my-ness, if you do something, it really reaches the ultimate, and then only you get the benefit. If you desire for something and you do it, you get only that desired fruit, but not all the bliss which otherwise you might have got. What are the barhis? It is all the nature around us. That is the barhis, the altar of the sacrifice. And what was the fire? The Purusha's heart itself is the sacrifice, is the fire in which he has to burn that animalism, that Pashutva Bhavana. He has to give bali of the Pashutva Bhavana. And what was sacrificed? Again the Purusha himself, his great body that contained all of creation. And Purusha would consume himself in the fire of creation. Now when we talk about this Purusha, and from every organ there is something which is emerging, there are certain Western scholars. I'm not naming anybody, I have read some of them, and I was taught in that manner when I was a student. So this refers to the dismemberment of the cosmic being. Dismemberment, from each avayava, each limb, each organ, there is some creation coming up. And this they can relate to the dismemberment of Dionysus, the Greek god of wine. So I don't want to comment more on this. So you can yourself search for the Greek god Dionysus. He is the god of wine and felicity and enjoyment. And he was dismembered, and from that everything emerged like that. So this refers to the dismemberment. This is like, dismembering, like cutting every organ, and from every organ there is emerging something else, like Chakshoho, Surya. From mind there is moon, like that. Okay? But I don't think it is needed, such type of interpretation is needed here, because when it is symbolic, everything becomes so symbolic, there is no point of discussing the dismemberment of the Purusha. Now, when to study, when to recite this Purusha Sukta, Viniyoga. Normally it is said, Aviditva Rushim Chando Devatam Viniyogam Cha Yo Adhyapaye Japedvapi Papiyan Bhavati Nara. So normally a Rigvedic Sukta should not be studied, should not be taught, should not be recited without knowing the Rushi, Devata, Chanda and Viniyoga. Okay? This is Anushtup Chanda, only the last Yadnyena Yadnyamaya Janta is in Trishtup, otherwise the verse is in Anushtup Chanda. Okay? Now what is the Viniyoga? When it is to be employed, when it is to be recited? There are hundreds of Viniyogas, but to name a few, like Purusha Medha, it is given in the Shatapatha Brahmana. It's a 5-day Yajna, and that time Purusha Sukta is recited. Collecting Samidha and praising the deities. While collecting the Samidhas also, you can recite Purusha Sukta. During the clarified butter, or the homa of clarified butter, which is called Ajya Homa, any homa, you put only the butter, the clarified butter, Grita, Ajya. Grita you put, and while that, putting that Ajya in the homa, in the fire altar, you can recite Purusha Sukta. Agni Chayana, in the great sacrifices, the bigger sacrifices, there are fire altars which are built, right? Like there are the 5 layers of the altar. We have seen the Shena Chiti, Kurma Chiti, Chaturasra Chiti and all that. So that Chiti, while doing that Chiti, constructing in the Shulba Sutras also we saw that. So while doing that Agni Chayana, or constructing the Chitis, the altars, the Purusha Sukta is recited. While donating any donation, especially the land, when you are doing the Bhudana, Godana, Hiranyadana, that time this is to be recited. Kamya Karma, rites related to fulfilling desires, any Kamya Karma, for Duritakshaya, for removal of all the afflictions and sorrows, okay, that time also. Then Vishnu Yaga, each mantra of this, each word is stated, and then Narayanaya Vidmahe or Narayanaya Swaha, the Ghrita is offered. So like we did here in the Illam, during Navaratri we did the Saptashati Patha and Chandi Homa, like that. So every mantra you recite and then do the Homa in that. So Narayanaya Swaha. Then for purification, according to Baudhayana Dharma Sutra, for purification, there are certain sutras like Shri Sukta, Narayana Sukta, Purusha Sukta. These are Pavanani, Pavitrani Suktani for purification. For retribution, for Prayashchitta, as a Prayashchitta karma also. Then Rahasya Prayashchitta, Narayana Bali, it is Vaikhanasa Dharma Sutra. And any Abhisheka, we have seen here hundreds of times, Swamiji doing Abhisheka, be it Ganesha Puja, be it Janmashtami, be it Durgashtami. Every Abhisheka will be done with the Purusha Sukta mantras. And normally, any puja of the deity, even in the Ganesha Puja, we also do it. There are Shodasha Samskaras done, Shodashopachara Puja, not Samskara, Shodashopachara Puja. And 16 mantras of Rigveda are recited for Arghya, for Padya, for Naivedya, for Achamana. So every Upachara, you recite that one mantra and do Akshadan Samarpayami, iti Arghyam Nivedayami, etc. Okay? Then Nitya Karma, it is Purusha Sukta is to be recited as a Nitya Karma, like a Trikala Sandhya Vandana. At that time you have to recite, you can do the japa of that, Devata Pujana, Mantra Pushpa, Nyasa, Anganyasa, Digbandha, all these are the various types of Viniyogas. So these are all the external, what we say, the Viniyoga is external, but you have to internalize that cosmic being within. So through external, always our journey has to be from external to internal, like I have referred to Arundhati Darshana Nyaya many times in this class. So external worship, but internalizing the Purusha Sukta. And now this is the last slide. So Surapaha Swarnahari cha Rudrajapi Jale Sthitaha Sahasrashirsha Japi cha Muchyate Sarvakilbishaihi. So one who recites this, maybe he is a Surapa, an addicted person to liquor, or Swarnahari, stealer, a thief who steals Swarna. He can be Muchyate Sarvakilbishaihi. He is freed from all his sins if he recites. So you recite Purusha Sukta and go on rampage, not like that. So then Vahyu Purana said, Namakam Chamakam Chaiva Paurusham Suktamevacha Nityam Trayam Prayunjanaha Brahmaloke Mahiyate. This is very simple. The Namaka Chamaka of the Rudra, okay, the Yajurveda, and this Purusha Sukta. And the Lakshmi Tantra says, Madhyamanas tatastasmat Sam, Ruk, Yajusha, Sankulat. See, when the Sam, Ruk, Yajush, they were all churned, as if from the Kshirasagara Mantana there arose 14 jewels, Chaturdasha Ratnani. Similarly, when the Ruk, Yajush and Saman were churned, what came out is the Purusha Sukta. So this has the essence of all the Suktas. And these are something like further reading, which I have read, Rigveda with Sayana Bhashya, then Rigveda's English translation of Wilson and Ralph Griffith in English, and Purusha Sukta by Swami Chinmayananda, then Tejomayananda's notes on Gurudev's book. And this was one article which was very helpful, Scope of Purusha Sukta by Dr. Manik Thakar, and it is published in the book Understanding the Vedas, published by Vedic Samshodhan Mandal, Pune. And there was another book by Ravindra Mule, Avalokan. This is in Marathi, Rigveda Darshana. So these are some of the books. Prakashaka is illuminating, Sattvam Laghu Prakashakam. Laghu is light in weight. It is against the Tama, which is Guruhu Avarana Kancha Tamaha. It is Guru, it is very heavy. Tama is heavy. It makes you sit down. It doesn't lift you. Whereas Sattva, because it is Jnana, it makes you lighter. You can go having further lights. I don't see why they cannot. I mean, at least not to my knowledge, and not in the environment where I am staying, I am living, I have been brought up. So ladies can recite every sukta. Yes, it is Purusha who resides in us. He is the Atma. Yeah, that is true. We'll have to search for that, not in this sukta per se, but then I may tell you, whatever is created has to be transient, has to be meeting its end, because jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuh dhruvam janma mritasya cha. So whatever is created has to meet its end, and therefore the creator has to be anadi. If he is also born of somebody, he will also die. No? And therefore the ultimate being is always called as Anadi Ananta. Okay, Shraddha, if you maintain that feeling, it's well and good. But normally we don't maintain that feeling. We always say, this is me and this is mine. Aham and mama. So these are the two feelings. If you say everything belongs to him, then you need not do any yajna at all, because already you are yajna swarupa, you are already Brahma swarupa. But if we have that dvaita, then to remove that dvaita, we have to do yajna. And yeah, I think that would answer you. Self-centric concept for the Vaishyas, you mean? Because I said Vaishyas are the persons, who mobilize the resources and the finances, but they are more self-centric. If it is referring to that, I would rather tell you that you may see around you who are the traders, the businessmen, and how they are, their behavior or so. So I think this is a thing to be experienced rather than elaborating on that. So I think we are just finishing in time, and I don't like to exceed the time, transgress the time. So let me close with a Shanti mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. धन्यवादः.